Last year, I quit my job and became unemployed, but here is the strange thing. I still spend around 8 hours every day working. So what exactly am I doing? I'm Wen. I live alone in Guangzhou, China.
If you've watched my first video, you probably know that I also create content on Xiaohongshu, one of China's biggest social media platforms. I have almost 2,200 followers there, and I mainly share hidden places around Guangzhou, city walks, photography, and travel guides. In China, city walk has become a really popular way of exploring a city on foot. The comment I receive most often is, how do you always find places I've never noticed before? A typical trip takes me around 1.5 hours just to get there. Then I spend another 2 or 3 hours wandering around, looking for different angles, different streets, and little details that most people walk past. Sometimes lunch becomes part of the job too. If I leave home at 11, I usually don't start heading back until around 3. And if it rains, the day gets even longer. If the weather isn't what I hoped for, I come back another day and walk the exact same route again. Sometimes, a single ray of sunlight can make all the difference. Let me use last Sunday as an example. On Saturday, I received a message on Xiaohongshu. A girl from Zhejiang was visiting Guangzhou. She asked me something I had never been asked before. Do you take portraits or offer companion photography? Companion photography has become a real profession in China. People hire someone to walk around the city with them, take photos, and capture their trip. Honestly, I was excited, but terrified. I have photographed my friends many times, but photographing a complete stranger, that felt very different. My biggest fear wasn't that I couldn't take good photos. It was that I'd make someone else's trip less enjoyable. She asked how much I charged. I had never done this professionally before, so instead of asking for money, we agreed to help each other. She would let me practice portrait photography and she would receive edited photos in return. So, that became my very first portrait session. We met at 10 in the morning.
现在是9:24，已经很久没有这么早出门了。
The first 30 minutes were a little awkward, but then the sunlight came out. I took one photo, she loved it, and suddenly the ice was broken. Very quickly, we realized we liked the same style of photography. We had a similar eye for light, composition, and the kind of feeling we wanted to create. For the next 2 hours, we wandered through different corners of Dongshankou, taking photos together. I realized I was actually pretty good at guiding poses, better than I expected. I also found myself naturally noticing good lights and interesting compositions. Throughout the morning, Pineapple kept telling me, you should really start charging people for this. She said my photos were already better than many professional companion photographers. Around lunchtime, we stopped by a cafe. It had a beautiful vintage European interior. Her outfit matched the place perfectly, so I couldn't resist taking even more photos. I ended up using 3 different cameras. That was the first part of my work done. But my day wasn't over yet. After saying goodbye to Pineapple, she headed back to Zhejiang, but I stayed. For the past 2 hours, I'd been completely focused on photographing her. I hadn't really had the chance to look around myself, so I kept wondering. I explored the surrounding streets, looking for little corners worth remembering. Somehow, another 2 hours disappeared without me noticing. Somewhere in between, I stopped for a bowl of wonton noodles. Once I got home, another part of my work began. First, I sorted through all the photos and uploaded Pineapple's pictures to a shared folder. Then, I made some adjustments to my favorite ones and retouched them. I had used 3 different cameras that day, and together they produced almost 300 photos. Around 80 of them were scenery. The rest were portraits. After editing, I ended up with around 40 photos that I was happy with. I'm planning to turn them into 2 Xiaohongshu posts. The first one will be about a walking route around Dongshankou. That means I also have to write the captions, organize all the locations, and make the post feel relatable enough that people actually want to follow the route themselves. I also needed to include a travel app developed by Xiaohongshu. I wasn't being paid for it. Instead, the platform gives my posts extra exposure in return. My job is to make it feel natural, so I create little animations showing different features of the app and connect them with what actually happened during my walk. On days like this, finding inspiration is only half the job. Organizing everything afterward usually takes another 2 hours, and it often takes me another 2 or 3 days before everything is ready to publish. Editing my YouTube videos. One day, I decided to time myself. Every time I started writing a script or editing a video, I'd turn on a timer. That's how I realized that a 10-minute video usually takes me between 6 and 8 hours to finish. My videos don't have complicated visual effects or fancy editing, but they still take an incredible amount of time and energy. Sometimes I'm simply rearranging clips, rewriting a sentence, or deciding whether one shot should be 2 seconds longer. Those tiny decisions add up. Replying to comments. One thing that has surprised me the most about YouTube is how thoughtful the comments are. People don't just leave a quick, nice video. Many of them share workout tips, tell me about their own lives, or ask thoughtful questions about China. Some viewers are simply curious about everyday life here. Others ask about topics that are completely normal to me, but unfamiliar to them. I don't like giving rushed replies. Quite often, I will write down my thoughts in my notes app first, organize what I really want to say, and then reply. English isn't my first language either, so I usually spend extra time thinking about the words I want to use. For every new video, I probably spend around an hour replying to comments. Studying for my tour guide license and learning Spanish. One of the reasons I'm studying for a tour guide license is because I'd love to lead inbound tours someday. After spending so much time exploring Guangzhou, I already know a lot of the city's hidden places, good food, and neighborhoods worth visiting. Many of my study time is spent doing practice questions and writing down every mistake I make. There's an old Chinese saying, "The palest ink is better than the best memory." Writing things down really helps me remember them. The more I study, the more I realize how much I don't know. I learned a lot of geography and history in high school, but I barely used any of it during university, so I've forgotten most of it. And then there are all the tourism laws and regulations. Those give me a headache. As for Spanish, I'm learning it simply because I love the language. I've become really interested in Spanish culture. I visited Madrid in 2023 and Barcelona last year. Both trips left such a wonderful impression on me. The weather, the architecture, and the warmth of the people, I loved all of it. If I ever get a chance, I'd love to spend some time living there and learning Spanish. I usually go to the gym 3 or 4 times a week, depending on how I'm feeling and how often I'm out taking photos. This might sound funny, but there was actually a time when I wanted to become a personal trainer. That idea didn't last very long. I quickly realized that my muscles looked much stronger than they actually were. Lifting heavier weights has always been difficult for me, so I decided to keep fitness as a hobby instead. Of course, none of these things pay me a salary, at least not yet. Looking back, I guess I do have a full-time job. It just doesn't come with a salary. I don't know where this path will take me, but for now, I'm enjoying walking it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.